We rolling. Batteries on 100. 100 in the background. 100. All right, we good? Maral. 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 So yeah. So what are the roles in a relationship? What's a man role? What is a woman role? You know, what are both of the roles to make a successful relationship? In your opinion.
One person, regardless of gender.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start off with a general.
Okay.
Regardless of gender, there has to be like a dominant and a submissive. And if you have two dominants, somebody has to become submissive. You know? Like, a lot of people too, like, when they think of the word submissive, they think like you have no rights. But submissive just means to be more like calm, and you still give your advice, but when you're someone who's dominant, you're very like brash, you know? Forward.
It's funny though, because
controlling.
You mentioned about the Bible and religion
Yeah.
earlier on. We're gonna get into that after.
Yeah.
But the Bible says, "Wife, submit yourself to your husband." So would you agree that it's the woman's job to be submissive? Because you said either one.
I say, like, in this society, depending on the person, for me, I feel like I have to be the submissive one, you know, because of I just feel like to be a woman and to be very, very dominant, like in that way, it's kind of hard. Like, I've lived my life being a very dominant, independent woman. But then when I got in a relationship, I kind of realized that there's another side of myself that like likes to be submissive. So I'm good with that. And also, like, knowing the definition of submission, it's also important like, to know.
So people are
because,
just scared of the word
yeah,
without understanding.
Because they think like domination or like submission, they think being a dominating person means that you're fully like enslaving the other person. But it's not about that. Because like men and women were created like equally, like we're equal. The difference though is that there's a head of the house. To me, so like my head of the house is the husband, and then like I'm also the head of the house, but I'm like a secondary. So it's like it should be the man. For me, it should be like, let's say, let me give you an example. So let's say we're going, like, I want to go to the movies, and let's say my husband wants to go get ice cream, and I'm like adamant on wanting to go to the movies, but he wants to go to ice cream. So if in that situation in a relationship, if you're both dominant, like a fight will break out, because like you're just going to keep going back and forth. Like, I want control, I want control, I want control, I want control. But when you're submissive, you're more understanding. So you're like, okay, I want to go to the movies, but I also want to go to get ice cream. So is there a way that we can do both?
Exactly.
Like, you need to compromise.
And compromise, exactly.
Yeah.
And as a man, you should be able to lead it and decide it right. Like, not just because, same way, not just because I want to do something, I'm the dominant, it has to be like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you should be able to have judgment and be like, okay, babes, let's do my thing, we'll do your later. Or, you know what, we did mine last time, let's do your thing. Like, you have to have good judgment and good reasoning and be fair at the same time, right?
That's why, like, you're in a relationship with someone else. Like, you're not in a relationship with yourself. So it's like things that might work for you, by you, will work, but you also have to take into account that there's a whole other person with whole other values and wants in the relationship. So it's important not to be selfish. But yeah, like, just I feel like as a woman, I feel like you can still have a say and be submissive, and you can even still be like a strong woman. Like, just because you're submissive doesn't mean that I'm not a strong woman. I still speak for myself. Yeah, I still speak for myself and stuff like that. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'm very extroverted and things like that. Like, but at the same time, I think it's also cultural, because like in my culture, the man is like the one that's, you know, but the woman still, like, we make a joke, like we say that the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and the neck turns the head. So we make that joke because well, it's true, because like the man might have like let's say a decision, right? And he's supposed to ask the woman.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing too. Like, when you're when you're the dominant versus submissive, you both should be communicating, you know? So like if you're making decisions, whoever is making the decision, you have to be communicating with each
But you know,
other.
even to bring it down on another level to show you like even power and just being a woman, regardless if you're submitting or not. Like as I said, I have a daughter, right? And like the woman is really the one taking care of the baby for the first few while there's like, you know, you're breastfeeding it, you're doing this. And it's like women just have these natural instincts that as a man, all you can really do is kind of fall back and support her. Like you really see like, okay, she's running this show. Like you get what I'm trying to say? So like as you said, like there's even power in just being who you are. You don't have to try and be the top dog or run things. You know what I'm saying? Like in your position, in your role, there's leaders. You know what I'm saying?
It also just depends too, like what kind of person that you are, because sometimes there may be men like, because the thing is like you're a spectrum, right? Like you're a male and I'm a female, but I could have some like maybe masculine traits, and you could have some like feminine traits, like not feminine, but like you know the saying like you're in touch with your feminine side. You're able to like understand what a woman would think. You know what I mean? Those kind of people, they may be more nurturing. So there may be some men who are more like tough around the edges and want to like go to work and whatever. But there are some other men who are like, I want to stay home and watch the kids, or I want this to be a team where we both do that, or like I'm working and grinding so that we can both stay home and watch the kids.
What do you have to say to a woman who like maybe she wants to be more in touch with her feminine side, but she just doesn't know how? How can a female get more in touch with her feminine side and be more submissive? Like maybe she's just maybe what she's been through, experience, have her a little bit more aggressive, or maybe she had to be more dominant. Yeah. Like maybe she sees that, she acknowledges it, but she doesn't know how. Like how can a woman tone down and become that?
I think that like women are always gonna be like that, like because there's a beauty in duality. So like there are women like even like myself, like I said, like I'm dominant. It's just where you redirect your dominance, right? Like kind of like what you said, like when you're raising a child, you have to redirect your dominance, but also like let it work for you. So maybe there are some days where your partner wants to be more submissive, but you're more dominant. You can always do it like that. Like
so life is not. How do you do it for you? Because you said you were dominant before, but now you've calmed down. What procedures? What did you have to do to calm yourself down? Was it just enlightenment, or did you have to work on something, work on yourself, or?
I think it was like pain, because like I started off being very like mellow and more submissive, and then through pain I became dominant and like very, but I always kind of was very independent. Like I can do it myself. I don't need anybody. I definitely don't need a man. I don't need my parents to help me. I don't need you to teach me how to do anything. Like so I'm smart.
You're like, why are you there? You think there's a root issue, which for you, you're saying it was pain.
Yeah, but I also was always like that. Like I remember when my parents wanted to like potty train me. Like I don't know if you're experiencing this with your daughter. I'm not sure how old she is. When my parents wanted to potty train me, they showed me like one time. They're like, "You go here," and within like overnight, I went myself. And my parents are like, "We never got to teach you how to go. You never had an accident. You never did anything." And my parents are like, "Okay, we'll make you food." And I learned myself. I'm like, I know where the bread is. I know where the knives are. I know where the butter is.
That's not dominance. I feel like that's maybe smarts and independence. And, you know what I'm
independence. Yeah. But I also took it like a level further too when I was a kid, because like I would be like, I don't want anybody to teach me anything, because I know it all myself. Like I'm smart and capable. I don't want anybody's help. And when I got older, I was like, definitely don't want like some like man to think that he, I don't know, made me, right? So because that's the thing that happened with my mom when she dropped out. Like a lot of like people were saying, "Oh, well, your husband works, and what do you do?" Like nothing, right? Even though she was looking after us. So my mom went to school, and like my mom is a very dominant character as well, but my mom also will submit. So my mom will, like, if my dad says, "Look, like the answer has to be no." Like especially in parenting, you have to be a unit. Like somebody has to cave, because if one parent is saying one thing and the other parent is saying another thing, the kid will just capitalize and try to cause division, which is something like I did when I was a kid. Like, wanted to go to a water park, my mom was like, no, you can't swim. My dad was like, oh, whatever your mom says. So I go to my mom and be like, Dad said yeah. He said that we could go, whatever. They never discussed it. So my dad ended up saying, oh, she said yes, okay, then you can go. And then I would go to my mom, say, he said yes,
Wow.
So then you create
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. In a relationship, how involved should your parents be in your decision making?
Not.
At all?
Like, no.
No,
I shouldn't. Like, I think there's a reason why in the Bible it says, when you come together as man and wife, you're married, get out. Get out. It's because like your parents, like, they think that they know what's best for you, which they love you, right? But you have to like live your own life to know like what worked for my parents. Like, my mom does this a lot. She'll like tell me, oh, well, when I was your age, this happened and it didn't happen like this, right? But it's obviously going to be different because we're different people. So like my mom was nervous because when I met like my fiance, she's like, are you going to drop out of school? Because that's what she did, right? So she's assuming like, oh, you met someone, now school is just non-existent. So for me, I was like, no, I still want school. And I think that that's another part of relationships too. Within being submissive, it doesn't mean that you can't have your own like things, like I have my own things that are like school and stuff like that we share. We both like the healthcare field, we both like science, but we find a way to like marry them together. But at the end of the day, I am also not with a man who's like, I made you and this, that. He's very motivating for me. He's the type of man that you would want to submit to because you feel safe. So like if I'm a woman
I think that's a key aspect to submitting, a woman feeling safe and feeling like
because it's all the man, submit, right? Because like if the man, let's say, is controlling and truly like dominant but like controlling, right? Like he let it get to his head. Some men, they're like, oh, you should be a stay-at-home wife and you shouldn't go to school and you shouldn't work and I'll take care of you, and that's great. But then if the man falls out of a job, what is the woman and the kids gonna do? Like, what are they gonna do? And then even further, some men, like, they let it get to their head. They're like, what do you have? Like, you're nothing without me, right? Because I pay the bills, I do this, I do that, I do this. So I feel like, and that can happen with women too. Like, now I'm starting to see women being like men are shit, and like if I make more than a man, then you can't tell me that. Yeah. But I don't feel like life should be like that. I think that both people, like, as long as they're working, like as long as you're really both working, that's the most important thing, right? Like, if you're working towards something, even like
should money differentiate who makes the decision, who runs the relationship?
No, it should be whoever's more financially intelligent, who's better with money. Like, for example, me, I'm smart in some ways, but like financially, my fiance is way better than me in that way. Like, I feel like he can deal with the finances, but yeah, like, back to my point, he's somebody who kind of pushes me to be the best that I can be. Like, you have a show that you want to sing at, go. Like, I'll bring you, but there's also other things too. Like, he opens the door for me, like very traditional types of things. Like, why would you have to drive yourself to work? I can drive you to work. If I'm available, like, if he's available, he literally will do anything for me. And like, I do this.
Safe. So yeah, in a relationship, like, if there's problems or whatever, like, is it okay to go outside the relationship to friends or family or whatever for advice, or is it best to just keep it in the relationship and figure it out yourself? What do you think?
I think the answer is definitely no. Like, you want to keep it within yourself.
But sometimes, don't you think it's good to, like, not necessarily follow or listen to what people have to say, but just to get an exchange of thoughts, exchange ideas, just to like hear certain things out?
I'm gonna say no. And the reason I'm gonna say no is because I feel like whatever advice somebody has to give me, like if I get in a fight with, let's say, like my fiance, and I call him a name that really hurt him, if I tell someone else that name, they might not take it as personally as he did. So if I'm asking for their advice, I'm getting a whole other perspective on a person who isn't even in the situation. So I feel like the source of the fight and the problem, you need to talk to the source. Like if I'm having a fight with my mom, like he's different because like with a fiance, with other people you confide to your fiance or your partner with, right? Like you say, oh, I had a fight with my mom, what do you think I should do? Because your relationship is built on like opinions and things like that, and advice. But if I'm having a fight with my fiance or partner, I'm like, nah, like I'm not going to my parents
Or your friends.
or my friends. Like I'm not going to anyone. I'm gonna go to him. I'm gonna say, what do you think I did wrong?
I feel like you're saying this on a healthy relationship. What if it's a toxic relationship where, one of them is being manipulated, controlled, this and that, and maybe one of them is not able to see that. You know what I'm saying? Don't you think in that case it would be good to just maybe seek advice, or you think no, I still keep it in, and if anything, go therapy? What are your thoughts on a toxic relationship?
Typically people who are toxic, like highly manipulative, like, or if you're dealing like in the really bad case with like psychopaths or like sociopaths, like sociopaths, they blend in really easily because they're very manipulative and they're kind of like socio is like social, right? So they're good at the social but they don't feel emotions, right? So I think that the best judge is when you're with somebody, introduce them to your family, like if you're serious about them. Like we've gone over the standards, right? You set the standards, you have a list for them, you ask them the list, you say, do you believe in marriage, do you have kids, do you want kids? Then we need to test it, right? Like we're only going off of what we said, but I need to see it in action. So like, are you close with your mom? Like, are you close with your father? If the answer is no, I need to know why. Because typically men who treat their mothers a certain way, they'll treat the wife a certain way. And then women who treat their dad a certain way, they'll treat their husband a certain way. So it's like you have to see how this person interacts with their family, and like, do they actually like kids? Like, oh, you can say that you like kids. Now let's go to a playground. Like I'm sneaky. Like let's take a walk. Let's go around a playground. And if I hear one comment like, oh, I hate kids, I'm like, okay, then don't tell me that you did because we were in that situation. And you know what I mean? So if that's what's important to me,
that's gems right there.
So you need to test it. Because you can't just go off of what people say. You actually have to see them in action naturally. Don't like pressure them or like make it like a thing. But like for example, like my fiance from the jump, he's like, I like kids, I love kids, I have no problem with kids. I'm like, good. So then I meet his sister, right, who's a little older, and she has like very young kids, like 3, like Shay, and they're young. They're like babies. They're very cute, and I love them. And so I'm seeing him, and he's being like all nice and playing, and interested, and very like somebody falls, he's picking them up, like not something that you force, something that's natural. You can tell. Of course. So
that sold you, like, okay,
yeah. Then I'm like impressed. I'm like, okay, you like kids. That's good. That's a checkbox for me. So then I'm like, okay, that's good. How's your relationship with your mom? Like, how do you talk about your mom?
And then
you know what I mean?
See how he interacts
and
with
it's
mom.
good. So I'm like, okay, that's another proof there. But if you're dealing with a toxic relationship, like mostly your friends and your parents will know. So not only do you have to have this person around their circle where they're comfortable, you now need to take them out of their comfort zone. So now you need to bring them to your family. Because the thing is, when people are comfortable, right, they're acting however they want sometimes. Like, let's say when they're with their family, they might be more like whatever, like normal. But then when they're in an uncomfortable situation, they could snap. So I want to put you in an uncomfortable situation because I want to know how you think when you're not in your normal space that you feel comfortable in. So if someone says a comment to you, are you going to snap? Like if somebody, let's say, I don't know, like if you see a kid that, like, I don't know, just vomited? Like, are you gonna be like, how are you gonna react? Like, I want to see, you know? So I think it's like talking, but observation. And people are able to tell if that person is toxic. Like, I know my mom, she tells me like right away.
That's true. You can see like signs. There's usually
Signs,
always
of
red
course.
flags and signs, but I guess
Yeah.
you ignore it because you like the
Yeah, of
person or
course.
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How long do you think it should take before your partner, as a female, for your partner engages or tries to take your relationship to another level as opposed to just staying boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever? Like, how long do you think a girl should? What are the signs, or how long should she wait before like it goes to the next level, basically?
I feel like my fiance did it at the perfect time. Like, we were 3 years. Like,
3
we got
years in
engaged
and he
like last
proposed.
year.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good time. My mom had
Generally,
a
you think that's a good time for everybody?
it depends. I don't know if I would do like 8 months. Like, I think that that's a
That's too
little
quick.
bit soon.
Yeah.
But I
I think
also
it takes
wouldn't.
at least 2 years to really get to
Yeah,
know, to see every
yeah.
different sides of somebody, go through different, because a lot of things you can only tell with time too, right?
But it's also like, are you living with that person? And how long are you living with them? Because, like, the thing is, like, you're in a relationship with someone where you only see them like once or twice a week, or maybe 5 times a week. But it's on your time and it's on their time where they're like comfortable. Like, I like that word. When you're living with someone, like, it's uncomfortable like all the time because now you're sharing spaces that you might not want to share. Like me, I don't care. I'm not like that. I honestly, I'm very open. Like, I don't know if you could tell, I'm very open. So I'm just like chill. But like, I know some people where they're like, this is my bathroom, this is my sink, and you're getting this corner, and that's it. Right?
Yeah.
So then, like, how are you gonna get a man or a woman to now come into your space and have to share?
Yeah.
On top of that, you're spending all your time together. And then, like, sleeping patterns, right? Like, do you like going to bed late? When do you like waking up? Like, these things you have to think about because now you might annoy the person, you might get them angry. Like, you're dealing with more interpersonal things.
So
like,
you
who's
think
gonna cook?
you think
Who's
people
gonna.
should live together before getting
Yeah,
married?
of course. Well, you should be able, like, the thing is, like, our parents are really supportive of our relationship. So we lived with our parents like while we're in a relationship. So like we haven't really lived like on our own,
Okay.
but we know what it's like to live together because we're together all the time. So for us, there was no issues. Like when we were living together, like when we are living together, it's kind of just like really like you have a spot, you can come in my spot, like I really don't care, right? Like, but some people aren't wired like that, and I've met some women like that. Like, I don't know about men, but I've met some women like that where it's like, this is my cat, and like this is my spot, and you need to leave me alone at this amount of times.
Is there anything that can be private? Is there anything that's yours or anything that's mine, or is everything just open? We're one.
What do you think? Do we share a lot? I think we share a lot.
Yeah.
Like we share a lot. Like when I make food, I don't.
So there's
That
off the top of your head, there's nothing that you can think of that's you, that's yours.
yeah, makeup, yeah.
I hope it's too bad.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking like large
You know the
scale.
red no, but yeah, I was talking bigger picture too.
Yeah, no, like obviously like the little stuff like makeup and stuff, but
Yeah.
like for example, he bought it like a whole studio, like mic, everything.
Yeah.
He's like, you sing, so like come record with me. I'll mix you,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
master you,
yeah.
like. So that's shared. And then he bought me a camera, like. I honestly, I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
I don't like. I told him, I'm like, yeah, I like photography.
Yeah.
I liked it since I was a kid. And then the next day we go to Henry's,
Yeah.
and I'm developing one of my pictures. He's like, oh, can we look at the cameras?
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then he's like, what's your best camera? And he like bought me a camera. Just like then and there, I was like, what? Well, like me, like that's crazy. Like, you know, I had never like gotten, like, I don't even like gifts normally, but like that I was shocked because I'm like, he knows, you know. Like,
Pay attention.
but no, you really have to be friends with the person that you're with. If you're not friends with the person that you're with, at least you're not gonna have a relationship, because like the physical is good, like intimate, like relations, like when you're doing, yeah. So like I don't like to cuss or like keep it a little PG. But yeah, like when you're like physical with someone,
you're sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drop the sex away. When I'm uploading, I put no one kid. No.
No, like
yeah.
like like when you're like having sex, like that's that side of your relationship. But there has to be more than that.
For sure.
And you have to be able to sacrifice. Like if you don't like a show that the person's watching, like gotta just you're gonna have to watch it. Like just like how they
we could go do something else
if you want to, if you want that to be your relationship. But I like to do things together. So I'm kind of just like, oh well.
But space is good too.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Space is good too.
Well,
I feel like space is a little bit of space here and there can be helpful.
We do space, like sometimes like we're kind of like in the room, we're like oh like I want to edit videos, and he's like oh I want to edit like music, so we're like okay, but we also allowed ourselves time because it's really easy to get like entranced by your phone, and you spend hours on your phone, you're like oh my gosh, like where am I, especially TikTok, like I go on TikTok, I'm like let's make a viral video, and it's like 2 hours later I'm like I'm still on this app, like that's crazy, like I need to get off. So but yeah, like I like space, but at the same time, I don't know, I'm not like wired like that.
No, I feel
like if he wants a space, I'm like okay. Cool. But like
it's funny. I've always said that one day when I have my house and everything, I want a room that's just for me. No kids, no wife, nobody's allowed in there. You know. But I doubt it's gonna work like that because even right now I have a little space where I do I have a little barber setting space in my house, or whatever, right? And I say, yo, that's my space. Don't go in there. And sometimes she be doing her hair in there. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, bro? That's my barber space, right? You know what I'm saying?
And she's like, it's hair affiliated,
you know,
right? So it's still hair.
Find some reason to go in there, you know? So I know it's open, but I like the idea of having my little, they call it a man cave.
I think it's important for men also to, what I like to really like stress in a relationship is autonomy. So if like that's what you mean, then that's what I agree with. Like I think that men and women need autonomy in a relationship because like
you're throwing big words.
Autonomy, like to be kind of have your own thing. Like be in control of yourself, like yourself basically. So like when I'm saying autonomy, like for example, if he wants to go play basketball with his friends, like I don't know, once a week, I'm like, go ahead, that's fine. Me, I'm more of like a homebody sometimes, but I'm like, if I want to take a walk around the block and I need to clear my head, that's okay. Like that has to be okay.
For sure, and that's a little space I'm talking about. I think that's important.
Because then if you don't have that, like you're being controlling, and then the person that you're with is gonna feel controlled, and then it's gonna feel like
it could be stifling.
And then it kind of turns you off from the relationship, right? Or the person, because you feel like I can't breathe, whenever like we were talking about this, whenever like animals or humans, they feel like whenever a human or anything tries to control another living thing, they do the opposite of whatever that person wants to do. So if I like control you and I say I want you to walk straight, the thing will want to like walk in a squiggly line.
Rebel.
Naturally. We don't want to be controlled.
No, that's fact. What do you think about exes, right? Should anybody, is it cool for someone to still be in touch with their ex, still check up on their ex? Is like, because at the end of the day, I mean, they worked together at one point, something like, depending on how long, but it could have been a long time. Or do you feel like, no, that should be completely blocked, delete, don't ever talk to that person again? What's your view on that?
I think it's very situational. Like I don't personally have any exes that I ended on good terms with. I'm like fuck you. I'm blocking you, and like that's it. I mean, eventually, like I ended, on good terms, but it's like if you're in a relationship, there's no reason why you should be talking to somebody that you used to be with. Like that there were feelings there, and
not even to check up, like
no,
sure everything is
I don't
good.
need to check up on you. I don't care about you. And like,
what if he cares? Just want to care about you? Just
like an ex?
Everything's doing good. Just say hey. Everything
so I don't care.
What about your
like, because
what
I
about your
feel like
man? Is he okay? Let's say he had an ex. Would say, hey, what's up? Just
that
chilling. How's your mom?
happened. That
Is
happened.
that okay?
No.
That's not okay.
Like I remember one time we were sleeping. No, we were
It's a big
sleeping.
laundry, you know?
No, it's not bad. It's
Okay,
funny.
okay,
It's
okay,
funny.
okay.
So we're sleeping, and this girl, like, this call is coming to his phone. I'm like, I'm awake because I had insomnia. So I'm like, okay, I'm answering the phone, right? Like, who's calling at this hour? You know, those were my crazy days. I'm okay now, like, a little bit. Yeah, he did.
I just seen the crazy
So,
side in your eyes. Just
yeah, that's what he says all the time. It's like I see.
crazy. You just
Anyways,
switch. Oh, lame.
so this girl calls me,
Yeah.
or him. I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello, and I hear this girl. Like, I didn't know who it was at first. I hear this girl. She's crying. She's like, like on the phone, right? I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, that's the first thing that I said.
Yeah.
I said, who the fuck is this, and why are you calling? She's crying. She's like, I want Caleb. I want to talk to him. I haven't talked to him. I'm like, because he told me his ex's names, and she said the name, and so she's like, it's my ex, it's my current boyfriend. We just broke up, and I want to talk to him, and like I miss him. I'm like, do you know who the fuck you're talking to? I said I've been with him for an entire year, and she's like, no, but I just want to talk to him. I just want his advice. I'm like, I'll give you my advice. Don't fucking call back. And so she's like, but I'm so heartbroken. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
That's different because she's showing you that she still kind of loves him, care for him.
It was about her new man. No, it was about her new man. And she was calling him to be like, I want advice from my ex about my new man. So I'm like, why the fuck are you calling me? I was so angry. Like, I yelled at her on the phone. And I'm like, if you ever call this number again, I will literally take you and I will rip your hair and throw you to the ground. Like, I will find where you are. And I said, you don't have to worry about your new man beating you because I will come and I will beat your ass. Like, I was so angry at her. I'm like, you never call this number again. And if I ever find out that you call this number again, I will find you.
Oh my
like,
God.
I was pissed because I'm like, and also, like, I'm mad because, like, and then I'm like, what? Because I knew the story. Right? Yeah, no, I'm like, I'm on the phone with her, and I'm like, I know that the man that you're complaining about, you cheated on my boyfriend for this man. So why are you complaining? You made your bed. I said, go sleep in it and deal with your own shit. He's beating you, then leave. Like, I can't do anything for you, and my boyfriend will not do anything for you because you're not his problem anymore. So leave. And then she never called back.
What if it's like a less hectic situation? They were together for like years, and now they're just cordial friends, just a checkup here and there, family good, here good, but that's it. You're not with it? Okay.
No, because, like,
are you a jealous person?
No. Well, yes. No, like, it's like this, okay? Human beings are naturally, like, possessive over things, right? Like, it's my boyfriend.
Some have a little bit more control.
Like, yeah, like, I have control, but you're still gonna feel it. Like, if you come up, like I remember, you come up to talk to him, like, I'm gonna go and kiss him and be like, oh my gosh, we just celebrated our 4 years. Oh my gosh.
It's working your territory.
Yeah.
Is he jealous over
but
you?
Now I'm more chill because, especially, like, he's the type of guy to, like, I remember this one girl was like, oh, Caleb, you're so cute, la la la. And then he went up to her, he's like, shut the fuck up. Like,
oh, wow.
I'm like, good, this time, I don't have to do anything, it's good. But one time, like, this one girl pissed me off, so I turned to him and I'm like, you better hold me back, I'm like hitting my hands. That girl, and she got scared, right? But I mean, I wouldn't have done anything.
What about him? Is he jealous over you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, like we were at university and there were, like, these free cups, and I'm like, oh, I love free stuff, you know me, like, if it's free, I'm there, like, I want it, so there's free cups, like, it's a free cup, So I go over with him, and he's like, I don't want the free cup. So this guy, like, he's Middle Eastern too, and a lot, like, we have these issues, right? Because like we're like different, like, you know. So no, like, he was trying to like relate to me because I'm Middle Eastern, and like, you know, he's like, whatever, like, talking to me, and I'm like, look, I want the cup. I don't care about you. I don't care about whatever you're talking about. I want the cup. Like, I'm here for the cup, you know? So then he asked him, like, do you want the cup? And he's like, no, I don't want the cup. I was like, I want the cup. So the guy's like, oh, you know, your girlfriend is so smart, and you don't want the cup, and you're not smart. And he's like trying to talk to me, like flirt with me. And he looks at him, and he's like, you shut the fuck up. But it's the way. And then he grabbed my arm. He's like, we're going. we're this way. So I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm going wherever you're going. Like, I'm good. I like jealousy, I think.
You like that? Okay.
Yeah, like a good amount, you know, because it shows me like, yeah, you care. Because I'm jealous. Like, it. I think like a little bit of jealousy, like not evil jealousy. Like, I don't want you to see your friends or family. You know, that kind of jealousy.
Okay. Probably going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of jealousy is bad. But like jealousy, like, oh, somebody, you know, just a little bit of jealousy, just a little bit. It means that you like that person enough. Like, I remember I was in a relationship, this man never got jealous. Like, anybody could talk to him, he'd be like, yeah, okay. And then he would even like be like, oh, you should talk to this guy. Yeah, he's hitting on you. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Maybe he wants an open relationship.
And I'm like, yeah, so I was like, no, I'm not like, I was like, what did you think that this was? I'm like, I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry, but, you know, like, I don't know what, for me, it's not like that. Like, I'm very one-track minded. Like, if you cannot, like, if you do not want marriage, children, like a family, you're not loyal, like, you're out.
What about on the fun side? Like, is he allowed to bring a girl home for the team one day? Like, no? Is that out of the question?
For what team?
Like, to have fun with a threesome or, you know?
No.
No? Not into that. Just, okay. Alright, my bad. Let's move
I'm
on.
just trying to hold back like the crazy eyes on you right now. Like, I'm trying to keep my energy.
No, I'm trying to help a brother.
Yeah. Listen, okay? Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you're with the right person, they'll become everything and anything for you. That's it, okay? So he doesn't need another person, because I can be like, what was it, 4 people in one?
Oh, yeah. It's like a girl told me one time.
Multiple
she
personalities.
And she
Literally. Like, I have naturally curly hair, so if I wear my hair curly and I want to put my hair up, straight hair, like, you know, I pulled the glasses. You like that?
I got you. All right. Before we end, let's get into religion a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, what's your view on God? Do you believe in God?
Yeah, of course.
Who is God to you?
The one true and living God.
The one true and living God. Does he have a name? Do you refer to him by a name?
There's lots of names for him. But yeah, the God I'm referring to, like Jesus too. Like, I'm Christian, so yeah, I believe in like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Like, yeah. For me, religion is like a really big part of my life. You know, I think really the last few years, like ever since like when we first met, I think I was still religious, but I wasn't that deep into my relationship with God. As soon as I got into my relationship, like a few months in, I don't know, like it really just kickstarted for me. And like like throughout my whole relationship, it's just been getting like deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, I remember like the day before I met him, I had a colonoscopy to see, like, because I have
the big words again. I love it. Right.
It's like a lower scope. Basically,
say it again.
Colonoscopy. So basically, like, is a scope that checks your colon for certain like things. And so like they found some stuff, and basically like I had met him the day before, and like on our phone call I was like, listen, like, I think that I'm gonna have health issues, because my dad had this really big surgery where he removed everything, you know. So I was worried that I was gonna have that surgery too, because I felt it. So I met him the day before my test to see, and I told him, I'm like, you know, there might be times where I might have surgery and I need somebody, like, again, standards. Like with him, I was not only very direct, I was very serious, because I was in a point in my life where, like, my health issues were at, like, the height, and it was just going to keep getting worse for me. So I told him, I'm like, I am going to be dealing with this. I don't need a heartbreak along with my health issues. I can't afford it. Like, I can't afford to have a broken heart. Like, I just can't. So he was like, I come from, like, I have experience with health issues, and, like, I understand. So I'm like, okay. So I got the result back, and then they told me, like, you have to remove your large intestine. Like, you just have to get rid of it. Like, all of it has to go. Like, because they're pre-cancer, right? So they're like, you got to get rid of everything. So I had, like, the next few months, I was prepping to have this surgery with him. So, like, every single hospital appointment, he was, like, bringing me, even from where he was from. Like, he was 3 hours away. He would drive 3 hours just for, like, a hospital appointment to bring me. So that kind of bond that you create with someone, that was the first surgery. Now I've had my fourth. So, like, it's indescribable, really. Like, for like another person to be able to support you like that isn't your parents or family,
and sacrificing himself for you too.
Of course. So yeah, like, I had my first surgery and he was there, and then I always thought, like, it's so strange, like, how God gave me him. Like, the day before I have this big test that's literally going to change my entire life, I meet him. So to me, I was like, okay, that's a sign, right? And we saw, like, little stuff, like little stuff. They were like, oh, like a scar on our foot, the same place. We're like, what? That's weird. Like,
a lot of things in common.
Like, a lot of things in common, like, really weird. So I'm like, that's so weird, right? So fast forward, like, I've gone through other procedures and other surgeries, and that was the theme, kind of. And we pray a lot together, but we noticed that in a relationship, you need to have a relationship with God too, right? So, like, how are you, like, even in the Bible, when it talks about submitting and dominance, the main part of the man being dominant means that he also has to be submissive to God. Like, that has to happen. Yeah. So, like, if you're not submissive to God, how are you ever supposed to lead anything, right? So there had to be a base level. Like, I was always religious. Like, I was always believing in God. And he was religious too. But when we met, and throughout our relationship, it's just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And we talk about God for hours, and, like, when we have like little things, like, that we need advice, we pray. Like, when I'm at my lowest, I'm like, look, like, can you pray with me, please? Like, I'm
with you on that one. I feel like the God aspect has kept my relationship together.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, because the thing is too, like, God hears everything and sees everything, and apparently even too, like, when you're crying, it's also considered like a prayer, because he knows your heart, right? So all of those times, like, I'm crying and I'm praying. Even him, like, before he met me, he prayed to God that he would find somebody like me, like, with my build, with my like hair color, like, terrifying, right? And then that day he met me. So that to me is like, it's like fate. And then just the character, the way that we clicked, the personalities that we both have together, it just, to me, it seems like perfect. Like, nothing, even if, like, there are, like, obviously people fight and things like that, but there's nothing that can change the fact that, like, we love each other and that we'll always want to be together.
Through the pain, through the struggle, if you try and reach and you gon' pull a muscle. I did it all for the hustle, trying to ball, build, wrestle. Through the pain, through the heat, I can't take it, too much pain in these streets. I did it all for my peeps, I did it all in these streets.
Had a lot of pain in me, now I got these chains on me. Think my legs gave out the way I keep this cane on me.